Dean Johnson.
And I'm JoAnne. Liebeler. Whoa! What's going on?
I think somebody's breaking in.
How'd they get in?
I don't know. I thought I locked up.
Oh boy, we better do something about the security on this.
Home Time is made possible by Chevy Truck, who brings you Chevy full-size pickups. Today's big pickups for professionals and do-it-yourselfers. Chevy S10 pickups, today's compact pickups that play as hard as they work. Chevy S10 Blazer, today's sport utility vehicle in 2- or 4-wheel drive. Chevy Astro, today's compact van with 2-wheel drive and new all-wheel drive models. Nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America. Today's truck is Chevrolet.
You know, burglary is really no joking matter. In fact, studies indicate that 1 in 4 homes will be burglarized over a 10-year period.
Fortunately, there are a number of safeguards and security measures that you can take to prevent this from happening at your address. I'm Dean Johnson.
And I'm JoAnne Liebeler. In the video you're about to see, Dean and I will be showing you a number of ways to increase the security in and around your home, and increase your peace of mind, too.
The steps we'll take will include upgrading the doors and windows with the installation of deadbolt locks and keyed window locks.
We'll also show you 3 types of security systems: an indoor-outdoor lighting system, an automated alarm system, and a commercially installed security system.
Let's get some things for this and other home time projects in a new all-wheel drive model Chevy Astro.
We're going to a lumber yard and a nursery in the right van for the job. A roomy, comfortable Astro with a road-holding power of all-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive puts all the wheels to work for excellent traction, and the system works automatically, so you don't have to push a button or shift a lever.
When any of the wheels start to lose traction, power is transferred to the other wheels to help keep you going. The system is not designed for off-road use, but on a road that's slippery from rain, snow, mud, or whatever, it can make a difference in traction you'll feel.
Like all new Astro passenger vans, this model has a standard 4-wheel anti-lock brake system. For the first time ever, a compact van offers both a 4-wheel anti-lock brake system and all-wheel drive, a nice combination in bad weather. Astro is the compact van to have if you want to carry a lot of people or cargo. And for easy loading and unloading, there's a big sliding door on the side.
In back, the doors swing out flat. Inside, many seating and loading arrangements are possible. This luxury touring model features reclining seats that can carry up to 6 people with a standard middle and an available rear seat. All the seat backs recline. Both the standard middle and the available rear seat also have a center console that folds up to seat a passenger in the middle, so you can carry up to 8 people. And you can quickly remove both seats for over 151 cubic feet of cargo room. Plenty of space for these building materials, and a load of landscaping items.
Even loaded all the way, Astro is a pleasure to drive because it doesn't feel underpowered. The popular 4.3-liter Vortec V6 is standard, with 150 fuel-injected horsepower.
If you're thinking of getting a compact van, be sure to test drive the new Chevy Astro all-wheel drive model.
With all-wheel drive, 4-wheel anti-lock brakes, V6 power, and more, you'll be in one of today's most advanced compact vans.
Chevy Astro is another reason today's truck is Chevrolet.
And why nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America.
A good way to begin evaluating the security on your home is to ask yourself, if you were a burglar, how would you gain entry into your home? You might be surprised to discover how easy it is.
Here at the front door, it's as simple as a firm kick above the doorknob, or working at the lock with a screwdriver. Another option to a burglar is to reach his arm in through the mail opening, or simply break out the side light, reach around, and he's in. Another weakness out here is the lighting. There's only one light, and it's really weak.
The front windows don't really pose a problem. Well, the shrubs are cut back in the neighborhood.
Here behind the 3-season porch, a burglar break in either through the porch or these double-hung windows. Now, most burglars won't break in through the porch because the glass size is so large that when it breaks, it'll make a lot of noise. And if there's anything a burglar hates, it's a lot of noise or light. But these double-hung windows are another story. Here, a burglar would just remove the screen, take a large screwdriver or crowbar, force it underneath the frame, and the small screws in the latch would pop right out.
These patio doors are another easy target. A screwdriver can release the storm door lock. And then, by breaking a pane of glass and turning the inside knob, you're in.
Now, this roof could pose a problem, but it's more likely a burglar will break in on the ground floor. They aren't known to carry ladders to a job site, but still people do leave ladders out, and that's not a good idea. Although our backyard is exposed to quite a few other homes in the neighborhood, it's still vulnerable. It's hidden from the street, and there's so little light. Fortunately, our neighbors do have a dog, which is always a good deterrent. Now, an attached garage is another area that should be secure. If a burglar breaks into your garage by prying open the garage door, not only is he hidden from view, but he probably has access to quite a few tools.
And he's up against what is typically the weakest door in the house, this one. And once inside, there are no alarms, no audible warnings that a crime's being committed.
Now that we've made a thorough survey of the house and grounds, we're ready to take the appropriate protective measures to increase the overall security and deter crime. Of course, your living environment will be slightly different than this, but many of the principles that we discuss will also apply to your situation. So we'll begin our security renovation here at the front door. Most burglars enter through a door. A person looks a lot more suspicious standing in a window than a door. And the best exterior doors are made out of solid wood or steel. If a door has any glass on it, it makes it much more vulnerable to break in. If your door has any panes of glass, you might even consider replacing the entire door. The door frame is also important. You want a door frame and jamb that can withstand the kick of someone trying to get in. While we're inspecting the frame, we also want to check out the hinges. Our hinge screws are only about 1 inch long, so we're going to replace them with 3-inch screws to better penetrate the jamb and the stud for added strength.
To improve the security on this door, we're going to install a deadbolt lock. A deadbolt consists of a solid metal bar that runs between the door and the frame of the door. And once they're fully engaged, they're virtually unpryable. There are 2 basic types of deadbolt locks: a single cylinder, which has a thumb turn on the interior side of the door, and a double cylinder, which can be locked with the key from both sides.
We'll be installing a double cylinder deadbolt because of the knob's proximity to the side light. It's important with the double cylinder deadbolt that a key is kept handy for easy access in case of an emergency.
When choosing a deadbolt, select one that has a bolt that's at least 1 inch long, and you'll also want a reinforced strike plate to help withstand assaults. And another good feature is this rotating cylinder. And this is good because it's on the outside and it spins free, so it can't be pried off with wrenches or pliers.
The installation is pretty straightforward. Instructions are included in the box with the hardware. Along with the instructions is a template to help locate the holes in the door. On this door, we'll be drilling 2 holes, 1.5 inches on the side of the door and a 7/8 inch on the edge. The suggested height for the deadbolt is 4 inches above the doorknob, center to center. So with our template placed at the height line, we mark the center of each of the holes using an awl. For drilling the large hole, I'm using an 1.5 inch hole saw. These come in various diameters and can be fitted to most standard drills. I drill all the way through one side until a pilot bit penetrates the other side. Then using this hole as a guide, I finish drilling the hole from the other side. This prevents splintering the wood. Now I'm going to drill the bolt hole using a 7/8 inch spade bit. Hole sizes will differ depending on the make and type of hardware, so be sure to read the instructions carefully before drilling. Here it's very important that the hole is perfectly straight, horizontal, and aligned with the center of the door for the bolt to work correctly. All right, the next thing we'll do is install a faceplate. But before we do that, we'll mortise out the wood so that the faceplate will fit flush against the edge of the door. I begin by outlining the plate with an awl. Then I take a sharp chisel and tapping it with a hammer, I make shallow parallel cuts. Remove the surplus wood and set the plate into place. There, fits fine. Then I insert the deadbolt and secure the faceplate. Next, I insert 1 bar into each cylinder. Then I install the cylinder and secure with screws. Now we want to attach the strike plate on the jamb. To locate it, we retract the bolt and closing the door halfway, we lightly mark the center of the bolt across the frame. Then opening the door, we draw a center line across the jamb with a straight edge. And measuring 3/8 of an inch up and down from the line, we mark our drilling points, set our drill, and bore out 2 holes to the correct depth. Then we need to mortise for the reinforcer flange and the strike plate. The reinforcer comes with 3-inch screws. With those in, I add the strike box, and last the strike plate. It's this reinforcer with 3-inch screws in combination with the 1-inch bolt that prevents entry by kick-in.
Everybody can add locks to their doors, but the trick to maintaining good security is using those locks. So lock up every time you go out, even if it's just for a few minutes. Don't give a burglar an open invitation. Now we want to show you a new innovation in door locks.
How many times have you locked yourself out of your own house because you misplaced your keys? Well, now there's an innovation in residential door locking devices that can change that for good. Electronic keyless knob lock and deadbolt system. To open your door, all you need to do is enter your personal access code. This is done by turning the knob to the right or the left, much like a combination lock. An illuminated window displays the number. Once you've entered your code, it automatically unlocks the knob lock and sends an infrared signal to the deadbolt that allows it to be retracted. You can select a master code for you and your family or a temporary code for those who need temporary access to your home, like a house sitter or a babysitter. And there are over 10,000 codes that you can choose from, and it only takes a few seconds to dial in your code. It's designed to easily replace the conventional door lock and deadbolt. The system is powered by AAA batteries and a 9-volt battery and are good up to 2 years. A warning is given when the batteries become low. If necessary, you can always use a key. Another feature of this unique system is an internal alarm, and it sounds when the lock is being tampered with by someone trying to figure out its code.
There are many types of locks and devices for securing windows. On a double-hung window like this one, this sort of latch is very common to keep someone from opening up both sashes. But as I mentioned before, all it takes is a large screwdriver or crowbar to pop out the little screws in the latch. One cure is to use longer screws. A 1x2 piece of wood, cut to length and set in between the top of the bottom sash and the top jamb of the window, can also prevent it from being forced up. To give it added staying power, you can attach a strip of Velcro to the wood and the jamb. This will keep it from being jiggled out. Another method that is commonly used is to drill a hole through the top rail of the lower window and insert a spring bolt or a double-headed nail. Keyed window locks will also work. They can easily be installed with screws to the rail, the frame, or the sill of the window. To protect our top and bottom sash, we'll be replacing our latch with a keyed window lock. But first, I'll make sure the sash is closed. Position the strike at the center of the bottom rail of the upper sash and mark the hole locations, drill, and secure with screws. Next, I align the lock unit with the locking arm engaged and mark for the holes, drill my pilot holes, and secure. There, that should do it. But remember, keyed locks should not be installed in bedroom windows where they could impede escape from a fire.
We'll be showing you 3 different plans of attack for improving the security around your house. And the first is an install-it-yourself lighting system that will hopefully deter a burglar from attempting a break-in. Our lighting system will include accent lights around the perimeter of the house. We'll also install mini spots and floodlights in key places, along with a motion detector capable of tripping the lights when someone passes within range.
For our perimeter lighting, we'll be using a low voltage system. It's efficient, dependable, easy to install, and because it operates on 12 volts rather than the standard 110, it's extremely safe. In fact, you can install it with the electricity on, something you wouldn't even consider doing with standard electrical wiring. And just because it's called low voltage doesn't mean it lacks intensity. 6 of these lights is as bright as 2 car headlights, and they'll last for years.
The perimeter lights operate off of a normal household circuit. You just plug the power pack into a regular outlet, and our outlet's in the ceiling, so we've had to run an extension cord, and then you hook up the light fixtures to a low voltage cable that comes from the power pack. Now, a power pack like this can power between 6 to 10 lights, and you can mount it in your garage or outside behind a hedge or a plant. And the power pack is actually a transformer. It converts 110 volt power to 12 volts, so it's safe to work on the lighting system even though the power's on.
When running cable to the outside from the power pack, you want to do it as inconspicuously as possible. We've drilled a hole here in the foundation, and we'll run our 100 feet of cable outside buried underground. All right, got it, Joe?
Got it.
The smaller cable hanging down from the power pack has a photoelectric cell. It's very important where you locate the power pack because the photoelectric cell is light sensitive. It turns the system on when it becomes dark and turns it off when it becomes light. The cable should be run to an area that's exposed to day and night. At the same time, you don't want it blasted by other lights, like car lights, for example. Okay, Joe, here it comes.
We've located the photoelectric cell here on the side of the garage, and we ran the cord through it through the same hole as we ran the lights, and we'll make sure to seal that hole with silicone caulk.
A good lighting design doesn't mean loads of light. You can space the lights a fair distance from each other without diminishing the effect. And if you don't like the initial setup, you can always rearrange the lights. Now we're going to start by installing lights on the side of the house here and then move around to the front.
Our next step is to run the cable from one fixture to another, leaving enough slack in the line so we can reposition the fixtures if we want. And for now, I'm just going to lay the cable on top of the ground. But after the fixtures have been connected and we're happy with their placement, we'll bury it.
If you run into an obstacle like a walkway, don't run the cable over it, burrow underneath. To do this, we remove the sod away and dig down on both sides to a point below the walkway, being careful not to hit the sprinkler line and its electrical wire. Then, using a pipe, we push through a tunnel, and running an electrician's fish tape, we pulled the cable through attached to the tape.
To light this area along the brick wall and behind the three-season porch, we'll be using floodlights. These floodlights are incandescent lights and are used to light a large area. Now we can hook these up to the same power pack and run them on the same cable as our accent lights, but because we're using so many lights, we'll install a second power pack for these lights and more. Again, installation's a snap. Just place the cable on top of the contacts and the stake snaps into place. This forces a cable onto the contacts. Then a bolt is run through the housing and secured. I then fold the cable onto the slots of the stake. And then I push it into the ground to the height I want.
The other type of light we're installing is a mini spotlight. It gives off more of an intense white light than a floodlight, and we're mounting it here on the side of the eave of the garage so it can shine down on the backyard. First, the cable is fitted onto the deck bracket. It's then secured with screws to the eave. Then the fixture gets attached, pushing the cable onto the contacts. Finally, it's bolted onto the bracket.
With all our perimeter lights hooked up, we turn them on at night to see how they look before burying the cable.
Once you're satisfied with the lighting, you can bury the cable. The cable is encased in heavy-duty insulation, so it doesn't have to run through heavy conduit. It can simply be sunk in a trench or buried under sod, mulch, what have you.
The last step is to set the timer. Once the light fixtures are in place, just decide when you want the lights to turn on, and this is done at the power pack. There are 4 ways to control the lights: a manual on and off, an automatic dusk to dawn, and a variable timer. Crime prevention experts say that leaving even one outdoor light on all night can be an effective crime deterrent. And as for the cost, well, you can leave a 60-watt light bulb on all night, 365 nights a year, for $2 to $3 a month.
As part of our lighting security system, we've installed an outdoor motion detector. The motion detector works with an infrared sensor that responds to people or objects moving across its path and automatically triggers our outdoor lights to go on. It has a range of 40 feet and will operate at a 90-degree angle.
And the unit can be connected to the same power pack as the rest of the outdoor lights. And we've located it here on our garage so it will light up the driveway when we come home late at night or if an intruder should cross its path. Once activated, the motion detector sends a signal to the power pack, which then turns on all the lights that are programmed to it.
Our outdoor lighting system also accepts a remote control unit that allows us to control the lights from a distance. Just connect the receiver to the power pack and your remote unit can turn on your lights from up to 75 feet away, like when you're pulling up at night or should you hear a suspicious sound outside. Another type of motion detector comes with light fixtures and can be installed outside in a new junction box or in an existing junction box like we have here in our patio. In locating the detector, it's best to position it so a moving object will pass across its sensing path rather than directly into its beams.
Before beginning installation, we first shut off the power to this circuit at the main breaker box. Then it's just a matter of connecting the wires as indicated in the manufacturer's instructions and mounting it with the hardware provided. The motion detector also comes with a time delay, which allows you to control how long you want the lights to remain on once the motion is stopped.
You can also set it so that the lights come on at dusk and go off at dawn, much like our perimeter lighting.
There you go.
All right.
This particular motion detector can also work to control indoor lighting. The control unit on the motion detector can transmit a signal to the indoor lights that are connected to the same brand of electronic module. So if someone should trip the lights on the outside, the inside lights will turn on.
All right, now that we've installed our perimeter lighting, our floodlights, and our infrared motion detectors, we're ready to install our indoor lighting system.
Programming your indoor lights to turn on or off at preset times is also an effective deterrent against intrusion. You can find affordable home automation systems for the do-it-yourselfer that will turn your lights on or off while you're away. Give your house that lived-in look. To automate our indoor lighting system, all we need is a single control unit and a module for each lamp, appliance, or light switch that we wish to control. The control unit can be placed in any convenient location. To activate it, I simply plug it into a standard 110-volt wall outlet. A house code dial on the unit allows us to design several independent remote control systems. By turning the dial with a screwdriver to one of 16 letters, you can control whatever modules that are set to the same house code letter. To control a lamp, I simply set the house code on the module, plug a lamp to the module, and plug the module into an outlet. The control unit does the rest, sending a signal over the wiring in the house to a module. The module responds to the command, which can be to turn it on or off, to dim the light, or to brighten it.
The control unit also controls lights that are connected to a light switch module. Installation of the wall switch module is as easy as installing a dimmer switch and just requires replacing the existing switch. This means turning off the power at the circuit breaker or fuse box, removing the switch plate, and making the appropriate wire connections as stated in the manufacturer's owner's manual. Then it's just a matter of putting on the switch plate.
With the proper appliance module, the unit can also control TVs, stereos, coffee makers, and air conditioning units. By adding modules, you can control up to 16 groups of lights and appliances by remote control.
Another feature of the control unit is the All Lights On button. Should you hear a suspicious sound in the middle of the night, all you have to do is hit the illuminated button and all the lights in the house will go on that are attached to a lamp or wall switch module.
We can also control our lighting from a distance with this wireless mobile control unit and base. With these, you never have to come home to a dark house.
Well, that should give you a good idea of what's involved in the fairly complete indoor and outdoor lighting system.
In determining your own lighting needs, budget is of course a primary factor. The total cost of the outdoor lighting system we installed would run about $250.
Our interior lighting system, consisting of one control unit and 4 lamp and 3 wall switch modules, comes to approximately $250 also.
The second security system we're going to show you is a wireless alarm system. And it utilizes a master control console which operates a number of sensors, transmitters, detectors, and alarms. And designed for the do-it-yourselfer, the system triggers an alarm once a monitored window or door has been opened.
The control console simply plugs into a standard outlet, and a backup power supply can be added to the unit to ensure its operation in case of a power failure. With it plugged in, the first thing we do is set our system code by flipping the first 4 switches to any combination of on or off positions. The same code should then be applied to any transmitters and accessories that are connected to it. A second code we need to create is a personal access code. This will allow only those who know the code to arm or disarm the system. With that ready, we can next install our sensors and our transmitters.
For our house, there are several entry points we want to monitor: the front and back doors, patio doors, and the door to the garage. We'll start with the back door. The monitor I'm going to attach to the back door consists of two magnetic sensors. Now, one will be attached to the door and the other to the door frame with a wire running up to the transmitter. The transmitter is mounted first in a convenient place nearby. I attach the mounting plate to the wall with screws, and then, making sure that the battery wires are connected, I just slide the transmitter onto the bracket. Then, the sensors, also called contacts, are secured with screws in close alignment with each other. When the magnetic field between the sensors is broken by opening the door, a switch in the sensor sends a signal up to the transmitter, which then reports an alarm to the master control console. For the contact to be effective, it's important that the sensors be positioned parallel to each other, and the distance should be no greater than 3/8 of an inch apart. Now, there are several ways to run the wire. We just ran ours over the door trim, but you could also drill a hole through the door trim and conceal the wire that way, or just run it behind the trim. And for steel-clad doors, extra spacer bars are mounted to keep the magnets away from the steel. And one way to test the sensors is to just open the door. If they're properly installed, the LED on the transmitter will light up. When armed, the control console will sound an alarm every time this door is open. But it can also be set so that a soft tone will sound for a parent to know when their child is going out the door.
For a cleaner look, you can install these recessed magnetic sensors on the edge of the door and on the inside of the door jamb. To install them, pry back or remove the casing on the knob side of the door. Next, establish the location of the sensor on the jamb and door using the template that's provided. Mark with an Allen drill. Then, to establish the location of the sensor on the door, close the door and match the alignment to the hole on the jamb. Then set the template to your mark on the door and drill. Next, insert the sensors. Run the wires up behind the casing and connect them to the transmitter. Sensor sets also work for many kinds of windows. Here we've installed a single transmitter to control 3 sensor sets for this bay window. We've run the wire from the transmitter up behind the drapes down to each one of the sensors. To secure the wires, we could have concealed them behind the casing or attached them with staples. We chose to adhere them with double stick tape, making sure the wires don't obstruct the movement of the windows. One of these transmitters can monitor up to 4 sensor sets. By installing sensor sets on the side of the window, you can add an extra sensor that will allow you to open the window for ventilation without setting off the alarm. Another type of sensor for windows is a glass break detector. This consists of a sensor affixed to the glass with self-backed adhesive and wired to a nearby transmitter. A template is provided that can detect intermolecular frequency changes. And of course, these types of sensors aren't practical for multi-pane windows. You need a sensor for each individual pane. But for single-pane windows, they'll monitor up to 32 square feet of glass. So the last thing we'll do here is run this wire up to the transmitter. The best way, of course, sensors are what we feel are the most vulnerable windows, those in the bay and above the kitchen sink.
Another accessory we're connecting to our security system is a passive infrared area detector. Now, this device senses changes in heat and in motion, so should an intruder cross within its sensing path, it triggers the console, which then sounds an alarm. Now, this particular device has a range of 20 feet wide by 35 feet deep. And we're going to put it up on the living room wall here, where it'll cover the living room, the dining room, the entryway, and the door to the 3-season porch. The determining factor in locating an area detector is I set the system code switches, then I secure it to the wall. Now, if you have pets, an area detector might not work for you. They'll constantly be triggering false alarms unless you can keep them out of the detection area. Works. It works.
The master console sounds an audible alarm to let the residents know that a break-in's occurring. Unfortunately, so to alert the neighbors, we're installing a siren that belts out 103 decibels. The siren is wired. You need to mount it, preferably in an hidden from the intruder's view. It's important when locating your console that you consider the placement of your siren. We're running our wire from the garage down through the unfinished portion of our basement and up through the kitchen cabinets. In determining where to run your wire, you should consider the path of least resistance. Now, I simply insert the wires in the appropriate terminals in the console. After you've installed a siren like this, it's a good idea to tell the neighbors. Describe to them what it sounds like and that you're relying on them to contact the police should they hear it.
Neighbors. However, you may also want your house monitored by a professional service. This emergency alarm go off at your house, it automatically dials a central monitoring station. A computer at the station then pinpoints the location of the alarm, and then an operator just contacts the proper authorities. This unit comes with standard module jacks that plug in a remote area. A central monitoring service will be more effective than an audible alarm.
Another handy accessory to the system is this portable device that allows you to access the control console. This remote panic button can be set next to a bed or any other location. In the case of an emergency, simply press the button and it activates the emergency alarm.
You can also add a remote control unit to your system. Once it's set to the same code as your house, you can arm or disarm your system from a distance.
Turn off and on at your command. Smoke alarms also can be connected to this system, as well as a medical alert pendant. This little transmitter can be worn around the neck or carried in one's pocket. When purchasing a system, we recommend that first you make an evaluation of your property. Draw up a floor plan of your house, indicating entry points and areas of vulnerability. Ask yourself, what do you need protected? Where are most of your valuables located? How many situations do you want to monitor? Fire, intrusion, medical emergency? Do you want complete or partial perimeter protection? Do you plan on installing deadbolts? Do you want complete or partial interior monitoring? Here again, lifestyle and budget will play a big part in your overall evaluation. There's a glass break detector, a motion detector, a siren, and a remote control accessories you choose.
A major problem that continually exorbitant cost to taxpayers and the time wasted chasing false alarms. Ordinances have been passed in many parts of the country that penalize homeowners who accidentally trip their alarms too often. Of course, the way to prevent this is to fully educate and acquaint your family with how your system operates and how to maintain it.
The third system we'd like to address is a professionally installed system. We hired a security company to alarm the same vulnerable areas of the house as we did with our system, with a few adjustments and extras. This installation differs in one respect from ours, in that this one is hardwired. By hardwired, it means that the sensors and alarms are connected to the control unit by wires concealed in the walls. For our installation, the control unit is mounted in the basement and the wires are fed up through the walls to the attic and down to their detection devices. If you're installing a system yourself and you're concerned about hiding the wires, this is how the professionals do it. Carefully fishing wire behind the baseboards, out holes drilled through walls for connecting security panels and motion detectors.
Our professionally installed system will include sensors at all the exterior doors, the door from the garage to the house, and the door to the three-season porch. A motion detector will be positioned so that its beams cover the entryway and the foot of the stairs, and there's a smoke alarm at the top of the stairs, bedroom. These panels allow you to arm or disarm your entire system, or to just control specific points. And this particular panel is the most sophisticated in their home security line. Some panels will tell you in lights. This one will spell out in words whether a protected window or door has been opened. It carries an alarm to alert us on the inside, but that also triggers an audible siren to alert our neighbors. And firing station. The station operates 24 hours as a burglary, a fire, or personal emergency, and then alerts the proper authorities to send help quickly to that address. The monitoring station also has on hand a list of people the residents have designated whom the station will call if there's an emergency. Depending on the features and accessories you select, a professionally installed system will cost between $1,000 and $3,000, and there's a monthly charge of $24 for central station monitoring.
When pricing alarm systems, take into consideration that deadbolts, home security systems, and central station monitoring can reduce your insurance rates. So check with your insurance company for discounts.
that doesn't require any electronics, infrared detectors, sirens, or money. It's called the Neighborhood Watch Program.
This nationwide program is handled locally by the police department neighborhood to detect emergencies, unusual activity, and potential burglaries in the area.
To create a watch program in your neighborhood, start by contacting your local crime prevention officer. They'll share what it involves, and once established, they'll preside over neighborhood meetings and training sessions to make the program effective in preventing crime. Another operation identification. Now the emphasis here is to mark a permanent identification number on your valuables.
Operation identification not only makes property less desirable to burglars trying to fence it, the program would have been untraceable.
We'll be responding, and apparently the entrance to this property is on Creekwood. 101. Zip code is 54011. Car calling.
Today's big pickups for professionals and do-it-yourselfers. Chevy S10 pickups. Today's compact pickups that play as hard as they work. Chevy S10 Blazer. Today's sport utility vehicle in 2- or 4-wheel drive. Compact van with 2-wheel drive and new all-wheel drive models. Nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America. Today's truck is Chevrolet.